It really makes you wonder how they went about building these things back in the day. I mean, it was only 1930, but that's a 164 meter long jetty. Look how clean that oil is.
It's not very glamorous.
If you come to these camps and you don't put money in the donation box, you're another one of those swear words I'm not allowed to say.
Someone commented on a video of mine saying eat a salad, and to that I say no. But the van is rocking in the wind.
G'day team, you find us at Burners Beach, a cracking little beach just down the road from Ruralty, where we obviously had to leave the other day. So, well, that was the previous episode for you guys. But here we are. It's a stunning little place. Can't get as close to the water as an actual beach camp because we're in a bush camp, but it's still bloody good. Let me walk up and show you the view. Obviously the van's just over here, and then it's a bloody cracking spot. So I think what Jess and I are going to do is go walk a bit of the Yorke later on once we're all up and caffeined and ready, and then just see what's around. But a bit of a chill day here for this camp, and don't plan on doing too much. It's just a stop along the way for us.
So we're just going for a little walk on the beach at the moment. There was a sign that said walk the Yorke, so we thought good excuse to get outside and go for a walk. Yesterday was scorching hot, and today's a lot nicer, but it is super windy. So what would you prefer?
Well, the wind at least is blowing the heat away, but it's also like there's actually been a poor air quality warning issued today as well, because it's just kicking up so much dust and stuff.
This is the reality of walking in the wind. It's not very glamorous.
Tonight, you're gonna give it to me right. Give me everything that you got to give. Baby, show me the light. Wanna go downstairs, kissing your feet, and you make me crazy. Now I wanna go downstairs, kissing your feet, and you make me crazy.
We're about to head off for a day of exploring, so as always I'm going to knock over some dailies on this big rig before we get it out of here. We are at Broughton Bay Caravan Park today, so it's been a lovely little pit stop. Now I actually want to tell you something about the ute, and we'll probably do that a little bit later in the episode, but what I do want to mention right now is something that I've seen a lot. I literally just saw it 5 minutes ago, and I want to tell you about it while it's on my mind, and then we'll get into these dailies. It is idling your engines. It doesn't matter what you're driving, idling is generally not great for your motor, but certainly if you've got a diesel, it is just a terrible thing. Do not let your diesel motor idle. They just don't like it. Like, just get in there, give it a couple, give it a few seconds to just let it do its thing, get everything lubricated, get the oil all up through the veins of the motor and doing its thing, and then just get in there and drive it. You do not need to let it sit there for 15 minutes idling. All you're doing is likely getting some fuel past your piston rings and down into the motor and diluting your oil with diesel. It's just not good. So just don't do it. I promise you, get in your modern diesel, drive it, give it a good flogging, get all that soot out of your emissions systems, and it will love you and work a whole lot longer. So please, just if you wanted some free advice, there it is. Anyway, dailies, let's go. Look how clean that oil is. That's when you know you're taking care of your motor. It's the last thing on the daily check, so I think it's time to go wheel out.
First stop on our tour de National Park is Stenhouse Bay Jetty. We are just following wiki camps today and all the points of interest because it saves me research when someone else has already done it. And there's photos and we can decide where we want to go. So just like lighthouses, Josh loves a jetty.
Do love a jetty.
Could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roll out.
It really makes you wonder how they went about building these things back in the day. I mean, it was only 1930, but that's a 164 meter long jetty. Just how did they do it? And then you look at all this infrastructure here, it's just so cool. And it really did stand the test of time because here we are, what, 95 years later, if my quick math is right, and it's all still here, still standing, and all very, very beautiful. And arguably much better looking than it would have been if we built it today, I think.
Please, God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, sing your highline on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster.
You guys, someone commented on a video of mine saying eat a salad, and to that I say no. What's cool about this place is you can actually book and stay in the cottages. Obviously not this building behind me, but those cottages along the way. You just book it online and you can have a group of friends or family in there, and I think that would be a pretty cool experience to spend a week or so here in a historic town.
How upsetting is this? Like, we come out to a lot of these places and you see these historic ruins and they're just ruined by people leaving their TikTok names and scratching their, or whatever they want into these walls. This was done only a couple of days ago. It's so disappointing. Like, well, you're better than that as a society. And you, I'm sure, are better than this as people.
It is pretty gross. Like, a lot of these say 2025. So I don't know if maybe someone comes in here and occasionally washes it all off and then it just gets redone, because it seems like it's all very recent. But yeah, like Josh said, it's always just so sad to see, because these places are an integral part of Australian history and they're only preserved as long as we take care of them. And of course, the local council and national parks and areas, wherever they may be. And it's just a shame that people, you know, take the time to visit because they're interested, and then also at the same time destroy it by writing their names and their TikTok @ on the walls. Bit weird. I've always thought it was really weird that when you go somewhere you have to write your name. Like, even on the trees, when people carve their names into the trees. I know it's been done for ages, but it's so strange.
And don't get me wrong, there is actually some places where you can do it, you know, outback pubs and stuff like that with permission, and in those places sometimes you're allowed to do it and you're forming your own part of history. But this, in other people's history, in stuff that we're trying to preserve for generations to come, is just, I'm not allowed to swear, but it's a swear word. G'day folks, so we've left Marion Bay and now we've arrived at Broughton Bay RV Park. I really hope I'm saying that right. I don't see how it would be said any different, but I've been wrong before. This is a cracking little donation campsite. It's $10, it's for self-contained only, $10 a night. It's got a little potable water filling station and some really cool sort of, I don't know, it's just nifty. Look at all these little trees and it's nice, I like it. It is 31 degrees, but it doesn't feel too bad at the moment. So I'll show you around here, and I'm just gonna go chuck some money in the donation box as well, because if you come to these camps and you don't put money in the donation box, you're another one of those swear words I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. No, you're not a swear word, but you know, it's not nice. People put a whole lot of effort into this stuff, but this place is quirky. Let me show you around and see why, you know, you really should be donating and why donations make a difference. So I'll put my beer down and I'll let you see. You probably can't even see the van there, so well camouflaged, but it's behind that tree. You're welcome, because yeah, you definitely want to notice it. What's actually really cool about this is it looks like either when there's enough irrigation or when it rains enough, if I just spin this around, it seems that becomes a little water course. So you're actually walking over the bridge and you'd be looking out from your Bali style villa here at a lovely water view. This is actually quite a rare experience where
oh, I suppose it's not that rare, but this is one of the places where you can go in a caravan that you can't go in a four-wheel drive or something like that. Not obviously not because it's hard to get to, the road is right there, but self-contained only. So sometimes, I don't know, it's nice. I'm used to thinking about the things that you can't do because you're towing and stuff like that, but actually it does open other doors for you sometimes as well. It's good to remember that. Cold books in summer. It's an absolute must. All Australians do this. If you're watching overseas, we put our books in the fridge when it's hot because it cools you down, obviously. Have a crack at this.
How do you know it's for dog?
It's got a little water bowl and a kennel and everything. Wow. Off-lead dog run. Yeah, I haven't even seen this in a caravan park. But like proper, and yeah, it's a little bit overgrown and stuff, but it's beautiful. Like people who, you know, wanted to just put their dog somewhere else, maybe, you know, it's too hot in the van, whatever. I like this. You may not be able to read that sign, but it says, water for your dog or short people with low standards. We do not judge. Now the final thing, I know this took me by surprise. This place is really cool, I think. But one other thing that, you know, you may find interesting and certainly valuable is that just over there is a mechanic. So literally right next to this campsite. So if you're having car troubles along, I think that's the Yorke Highway, along the Yorke Highway or anything like that, this could actually be a very handy spot to pull in. Not too far from town, the mechanic's right there, and you can put the van right next to where you are. So God forbid that happened, but.
Good morning, guys. So we are off to our next destination. We stayed at that cute little campsite last night and we loved it. The owner is so lovely and it was such a cute little spot. We just really appreciated all the effort that went into it. But now we're gunning it a little bit today. We are heading about 3.5 hours to our next spot because in our opinion, there isn't a lot in between where we just were and where we're going in terms of like places we really want to stop again. We have done South Australia before, so worth noting that we aren't stopping at every single location that we can, and also we just don't have the time to do it because, as I mentioned, we do have to be back in Sydney for some commitments in April. The reason that I'm giving a little preface is because we did have someone comment on our video when we were going from Port Fairy to Robe saying, you guys don't do your research, you didn't stop here. And it's like, not everyone's trip is going to be the same, obviously, and we are just stopping where we want to stop. Obviously, if there are awesome spots in between that we don't stop at, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't stop at them, but we are just taking the journey that we want to take. So where are we off to today? I forgot.
South of Cal, yeah, I think, yeah, you're testing now.
So as you can see, we did our research. We had a look on Wiki Camps last night and chose this one. So hopefully it's going to be some beautiful views because South Australia really is delivering on the views. The only thing with the Yorke, and I feel like this isn't new knowledge, is it's super windy. So just come prepared knowing you're going to get a few gusts of winds, some dirt and sand in the throat as Josh is currently experiencing. He has a new cough and it's come from swallowing a whole bunch of dirt outside the van, so that's exciting. But yeah, not news. I mean, the Yorke is known to be the windy peninsula, but if you've got a caravan, then of course you can just hide inside, which is what I do. my god, so when I said the Yorke Peninsula was windy, I think the Eyre Peninsula heard me and thought, I'm gonna one-up that. It looks so deceivingly beautiful and calm outside. It looks like just, you know, a gentle breeze flowing through the trees, but it is insane. We are having wind gusts from 50 to 60 kilometers. We are just getting, it's like an absolute tornado out there. We pulled up here with our friends. You can see they're troopy over there. We just met them a few campsites back, caught up with them again in Marion Bay, and then again today, and we thought we'll pull into the same campsite, hang out for the night, but the wind is just so unbearable. We ended up heading to the pub. We had dinner and drinks because it was so much more sheltered in town, and now we're back at camp and we're just like, do we just bunker down? Because as much as it is a beautiful spot here, we are currently at, oh my god, where are we? We initially pulled up at White Sands campground, but the way that that campground is structured is there's one campsite which has a really nice view of the beach, and then the other ones are sort of behind it, and unfortunately someone was in that campsite, so when we pulled in it was just like a car and a van, and that was the entire view. And then, you know, if we were parked behind them, we wouldn't even be able to see the water, so we're like, that kind of defeats the purpose. So even though we'd already booked it and paid for it, we came to the one over. So we are at Serenity campground, which is ironic because it's anything but serene out there. The wind is absolutely nuts. But yeah, I think we might just bunker it down for the night. The forecast is that it's going to be super windy tomorrow as well, so I don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, we paid for 2 nights there and we've now paid for 2 nights here, but if it's nuts like this tomorrow and we're just trapped in the van, we might as well move on. Question for those who have traveled the Eyre before, is it always this windy? Is the Yorke and the Eyre always this nuts? Because it's so beautiful, and I was just out there filming before trying to show you guys how crazy it is, and when I watch the footage back it just looks so beautiful and serene, and I wish I could translate to you how intense. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it, it's like a weird squealing sound because everything out there is going crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's camping, I suppose.
It's so windy.
I know, I was just saying that. I was saying how it's Serenity campground and it's anything but serene at the moment.
No serenity. It's like, we've never had it howling. Like, this feels like you can hear, like, if you're on a boat, there'd be spinnakers going wild and all sorts of stuff. Like, sorry, I'm taking my shirt off. I'm getting in the shower. But this is just wild. But I'm so glad. I literally just put a story up on Instagram saying, like, it's times like this you appreciate having a van, because, like, it's wild out there. And it's quite lovely in here. Serenity campground inside.
Guys, it's so crazy. Like, the van, you won't be able to see with the GoPro, but the van is rocking in the wind. Like, it's shaking us from side to side. I've never experienced wind this intense, and wind that just keeps getting worse. Like, normally I feel like it's nice in the morning, hit midday, the arvo, it starts ramping up, and then the sun sets and it sort of, you know, mellows out. It has just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger since we got here, and we left the van here when we went into town to have dinner, and I half expected to come back and it have flown away into the clouds because this wind is so crazy. And look, I really don't mind having a nice chill day tomorrow where I sit inside and I read my book and I drink tea. Like, it is nice to have those days as much as it's nice to have the days on the beach where you're sunbaking and bushwalking and, you know, doing all the outdoorsy things. It's nice to like bunker down and have those cozy camping moments. I guess I just wasn't expecting it because I thought the Yorke was windy, and this has just like one-upped it. But it may just be a bad luck, and I have my fingers crossed that the rest of the Eyre Peninsula is not a tornado. I really hope. I don't know if you can see me bouncing right now. This is the van shaking me. As you guys can see and possibly hear, and see me eating my own hair. The wind is still up, but not as bad as it was yesterday, or definitely not as bad as it was last night. I am expecting it to pick up again because that seems to be what wind does in the Arvo. But if you come right alongside the caravan, it does act as a bit of a wind blocker, which is a nice break. And I've just been sitting here alongside the van reading my book, relaxing. I don't know if you can hear the difference, but it cuts a lot of wind out. So this is where I've been sitting with my feet up on one chair. Perfect Sunday setup in my opinion. Josh is inside writing an article, and I'm just having a me day. Our friends headed off just before because they're in a troopy, so it's sort of not as luxurious as hiding from the wind in a caravan. They are a bit more cramped in, so they've gone somewhere that hopefully the wind isn't going to be too bad, and then we'll meet up with them later because we are both doing the Eyre, so we're sort of just like crossing paths every few locations. But as for today, I think I'm just gonna enjoy the scenery. I do want to go in for a dip, but I don't know, it's very rough out there. Something else worth noting is that in the campsite that we're in now, Serenity campground, there were no signs, numbers that we could find anyway on the fence or on poles or anything that indicated which site was which. So we actually went onto WikiCamps and a bunch of people had left reviews saying where each number was meant to be, and thankfully we just lined ourselves up with the photo. So apologies if we are in the wrong spot, although I don't think we're affecting anyone considering we're the only ones who are braving the wind right now in the campsite. But yeah, just thought I'd point that out and say it's a good point, because not only does WikiCamps show you where the good camps are, and we read everyone's reviews, like we really take into consideration what other people say about places and their experiences, because it often is pretty helpful when you're planning your trip. But this is just another level now. People are directing you to which site is actually which. So thank you to those reviews, it was very helpful. You guys might be able to see behind me a few vans in the camps on the way up. So I've just taken like a really short walk on the beach. We are, oh, dangerous in these winds. We are just here. And obviously the other vans are along there. So it just goes to show how close these campsites are together, which is great. I mean, you don't all have to pile into one just so that you can get onto the beach or have a beautiful view. But I mean, if it's not too busy, like today it's a Monday and there's just one van now in each, you may as well rock up here and check it out before you book it online, so you can see which campground is going to fit you the best and which one is maybe a little bit more sheltered from the wind. But yeah, I just wanted to like give you a visual representation of how close they were together, because you can see it on the map, but when you're on the beach and you can see them individually, it just gives you sort of a better idea. We're just packing up to leave, and look at this. There's so much salt spray on these windows. It's like a haze. You can barely see out. Gosh, this van is gonna need some cleaning.